Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McCullough. And as Thane has said, it's not just been his privilege, it's been mine to work with Thane over these last almost 13 years now. And today wouldn't have come about if it wasn't for Thane, and I'll speak to that in a moment here. I do want to thank all of you media folks for being here today and being able to cover this. I look around and there's a lot of you that I've known for quite a while. John Blanchette and I go back to 1982. And as Chris Standiford likes to do with our staff, he always likes to ask how many of them were alive in times like 1982, just to make me feel good. So yourself, I know I saw DP coming in somewhere here. There's a lot of media folks in Spokane that go back a long way. Some of you I've gotten really close to over the years, especially Jim with the spokesman. We've spent a lot of time together, and we really, Gonzaga University, myself, Gonzaga Athletics, we appreciate the coverage that you continue to do. And we have Rob Curley, the editor of the Spokesman here. The coverage that we've gotten from you and able to push that out nationally has been tremendous. So thank you again for being here and being a part of today. I'm not going to go super long today just because I can go really long. And there's so many people to thank. But I do want to give you a little backstory here. As Thane mentioned, the job of being an athletic director can be all-encompassing. And years and years ago, it was maybe my second or third year as AD, so I'm in my early 40s, and I get a phone call, and I got constant phone calls and discussions, or I would make the phone calls to Jim Livingood. Jim Livingood, former AD at WSU, but then was at the time the AD at Arizona, very successful. And Jim and I go way, way back to when he was a high school basketball coach, and I actually was a very poor high school basketball player. And Jim told me one time, he said, Mike, you have to understand something. The more successful your programs are, the more being the AD is living in dog years. And I know Ken Anderson knows that, my good friend, Ken Anderson, our dean of the School of Business, and our longtime faculty athletic rep. We used to joke about that all the time. We used to joke about the fact he was tenured and I was day to day. But I laughed at Jim Livingood at the time. But then it wasn't within just a few years that I realized he was right. The more successful our programs became, the more expectations grew, and the harder the job becomes in that regard. But we wouldn't want it any other way. What we strive for as an athletic department is to be successful each and every day. But with that success, it does take a toll. And so it was actually 18 months ago that I sat down with Thane, and I told Thane, I got to be done. It's time. It's time for me to move on. The job has taken its toll, and others are ready. And Thane, if you've ever wondered if Dr. McCullough has a crystal ball, well, he does. Because this was January of 2020 that he and I had this conversation. And he said to me, Mike, I really need you to stay one more year. Really need you to stay one more year. Well, COVID didn't hit till March. And so he got a 2-month jump on COVID and convinced me to stay, and I committed, of course, and we made it through this year. And I'm going to be ever in debt to Thane for that, for allowing me this extra year, but actually convincing me to go this extra year. And people have said this COVID year had to be really, really hard. It had to be really difficult. And it was, but because of the success of the people standing there, our staff, our student athletes, we got some of the baseball team here after a historic run that the baseball team had this year. That's made it all worthwhile. And we all know that if it was easy, anybody would do it. And everybody is trying to do what we've done within Gonzaga Athletics. It's not easy, but the struggle is what makes the success so valuable, so emotionally worthwhile. And that's something that I'll take with me for sure forever, is that no one gave us anything. We had to work and work and work to get it done. And it was 100% we. You know, you look just here at these trophies. I look out at our coaches and our staff. Guess what? I never called a timeout. I never called a hit and run. I never called a play. I never recruited a student athlete. What did I do really in relationship to putting us in position to win? I was just lucky enough to get all the right people in place. So, and that's all of our staff that's here and all of our staff that came before them that I've just been lucky enough to be there. I've never been the smartest person in the room. When we were doing Zoom a lot this year, there was times where it was just myself and the dog at home doing Zoom, and I realized I wasn't the smartest person in the room still. So, but I know that. So it's been a fantastic run for us, and there's so many people to thank. All of our head coaches, for sure, all of our assistant coaches, our student athletes. It's just been so tremendous because, fellas, when we put up 3 fingers, what do we mean? We're going to win in the classroom, we're going to win in the community, we're going to win on the court, the water, the field, whatever the playing surface is. And this year, we've done that. Last year, we do it every year. We have shown college athletics that you don't have to take a back seat in anything. Winning in the sport doesn't have to be, you don't have to sacrifice academics to do that. You don't have to sacrifice having great young people represent you to do that. You can win in each and every way. And the same with our staff, and that's something I believe we have shown the collegiate world, is you can do that. You just have to care. You have to care about it from the president all the way down. And every one of our staff, they hear me say this all the time, every single person on our staff is part of winning. They have helped us and positioned us to win. And what they do every day is that. And that's the key for me walking away, too, is we have 3 simple goals, pillars. Chris and Shannon like to call them pillars now. I call them goals, but I'm leaving. But we only have one philosophy, and our philosophy is we will never be satisfied. We will always get better. We are working today to get better. This event is to get us better. And that's why I'm stepping down. That's why I'm walking away as athletic director. It's time for somebody else to move in and take this spot. And Thane's going to speak to that actually in just a moment, as soon as you can drag me away from the microphone here. Because for me, that's the most important thing, is the continued success. My legacy is not going to be what we did, but what we're going to do. Coach Few shared with his team a few years ago a picture, and I've kept it in my office, and it's a picture out of a car, sitting in like the driver's seat of the car. And you see this big giant windshield that looks out on this beautiful horizon that you're driving towards, in this little tiny rearview mirror. Well, that's who we are at Gonzaga Athletics. We pay attention to the past, but that past is just this little rearview mirror. We learn from the past, and we know what it is, and we acknowledge it, and we celebrate it. But our focus is on what's in front of us. And so my legacy as athletic director is going to be where we go starting September 1st, when I'm out the door. Cespedes. When I am gone, when I'm done, that is going to be the real question of, did I do my job? And have I put myself in that position, or put us? I'm going to say us a lot. Apologize. But if we, as Gonzaga Athletics, have done that, and we take a tremendous amount of pride in Gonzaga Athletics of talking about family and what that means to us. And when things are tough, we know what that means to us, and we have some tough things going on right now with some of our staff, and we're standing with those staff people and helping and fighting and battling with them as we move forward. And because that's what makes us different. And we have wonderful facilities, both here at athletics and on campus, and some of the facilities, and they're still look across and see that beautiful science building that's going up that Thane is completing, the student center that he completed, McCarthy Athletic Center, Volker Center, Stevens Center, Steve Hertz Field, Coach. You know, we have tremendous facilities here, but it's not the facilities, it's the people. And the people have what had me coming back, and that's the part I'm going to miss the most, is being able to interact with you guys as staff every day and our student athletes. And you're going to have to find somebody to laugh at every day, because that's really important, that we get an opportunity to laugh. And a lot of times, so you guys know out there, that I'm usually the reason people laugh, because, hey, I grew up in Moses Lake. I say goofy stuff, you know, and but I think it's really important that we do that. So we'll have time once we're done here to do some individual things if you guys would like. There'll be opportunities, I'm sure, that we'll have to continue to talk about things. There's so many people for me to thank that I can't even start down that list right now, but I'd love to, because the list is really long, and you want to start to connect the dots of what if this didn't happen, or what if that person hadn't made that decision. You know, what if Coach Few had taken the Pitt assistant job instead of still, you know, staying here? You know, what if Lisa had not come back? You know, what if Mac had taken the Stanford job? You know, those are some of the what ifs questions. And I just am the luckiest man in the world, and I am the most blessed AD in history to be able to work at this great university with this group of great people, and I thank you all so much.